On today's episode of Watch Jericho, we are here in my neighbor's Ford Explorer. This is an old V6 Ford Explorer, two-wheel drive, and it's got a bad transmission. And we're driving it to the shop to swap out the transmission for them. Now, this thing is driving down the road just fine right now, but if you take a look at the gauges, it disagrees with me. We've got a check engine light, we have a flashing overdrive off light, and if I give it some throttle, well, it's not slipping now, but usually it does not want to make that shift. We might be in trouble now. It is literally in gear and it doesn't want to go anymore. Come on, girl. It tried to hook there. Can I have second? All right, second tried to engage. I just need you to go 2 more miles. This thing has no problem driving the like 15 miles here. I mean, it was still slipping, clearly, but now the fluid's all hot and it doesn't want to run anymore. You'd think I ate some of that Oops All Neutrals for breakfast today. I promise you I didn't. We're in the same spot again. I really think it's because on the way into the city, it's like a gigantic hill, and that hill is really hard on it. Put it under like a really high load situation and probably let the converter slip, and then we probably burnt all the rest of the fluid because it was already done, but now it's really done. What is going on, guys? I am Watch Jericho, and today I am here with this Ford Explorer. Let me tell you guys what year it is. I honestly have no idea. Manufacturer 0299. This is a 99 Ford Explorer with the V6 and I think this is a 5R55. That's got to be what this transmission is. So there it is. We got a Jasper, just been rebuilt and delivered. So today we're gonna shove this in here after we get the old one out, clean out the trans cooler, of course, and then the old one has to go back as a core, so we're gonna have to drain down the converter, all that fun stuff, drain down the unit, put it back in here, and then throw it back in the car so it can go back to Jasper. Anyway, my neighbors have had this car, I honestly think, since new. It's basically perfect, although it weirdly squats in the back. I don't know what's going on with that. I didn't notice it until it was in here, but it definitely has a little bit of a Carolina lean to it. Not quite a Carolina squat, but it's a pretty nice old Explorer. It's got a few little blemishes here and there, but for the most part, it's got 150,000 miles on it, and it's super clean. A little piece of trim missing, but wait till we get underneath. I just took a quick look, and it looks amazing. So first things first, I'm gonna pull the battery, and we're gonna get this thing on the lift, and then we'll just figure out what we gotta do to get this thing out. Should be pretty simple though. It is a two-wheel drive. Obviously, I said that earlier because two-wheel drive is the greatest thing in the world to put transmissions in. This shouldn't take terribly long. Hopefully today we're getting it out, and tomorrow putting it back in. If we do both in one day, that would be amazing. Well, as you might imagine, the hatch struts are completely gone. It could definitely use a set of those. I went ahead and got the battery terminal off, and the only reason we're pulling the battery terminal to do a transmission is because I'm probably going to drop the starter, and I don't want to have to worry about the battery cables to the starter. It's a lot easier to just rip it all apart and let the wires hang. We should be good to go now. Let's go ahead and lift this thing up. Let's check this thing out. First thing we notice is the spare tire is missing. Second thing is that the thing that holds brand new shock absorbers together? I'm kind of confused on why that piece of plastic's still chilling under there. But those shocks look like they're in excellent condition. Just a little bit of dirt on them there. The rear end looks incredible. The gas tank, all these lines, they're not dirty at all. A little bit of rust on the evap canister holder there. I'm sure that's fine. Obviously, no one's worried about an evap canister. The exhaust is in perfect shape. All the O2 sensors look new. We have a little wetness around the tail shaft, wet there. Weirdly, like the whole pan was leaking. Another new O2 sensor on the driver's side bank. Starter looks like it's original, but easy to get in and out. Maybe a slight rear main leak. One drip there. He said it's never dripped on his driveway or anything. Nice of Ford to put an extra ground there. Can't beat that. I bet that starter works very well. And whole front end of this thing looks like it's in excellent shape. Never drug or hit on anything, which is crazy because the brake shields are still in there. Ball joints are perfect. Let's see, these tires look new. It felt like a little bit of play. Can't tell if it's in the steering system or... That one's perfect. Overall, this entire thing is in really good shape. If I had to guess, it's probably low on fluid. That's what killed it based on these leaks. But it doesn't leak in their driveway, so kind of weird. Anyway, this should be a pretty fun job. We'll start, obviously, by pulling this aluminum drive shaft out. This looks like it should be a pretty fun job, and it should get them back on the road really, really quickly. That's interesting. Ford uses another shock absorber to stabilize the input to the diff there. Actual first things first here, we're gonna pop off the shift linkage because, let's see, she should link out here. There we go. I need to put it in neutral so that we can spin the drive shaft. I've got a 12mm 12-point socket on the output shaft there, so this should be park. And wow, that's hot. Reverse neutral. There was 2 clicks. So let's see. That looks like neutral to me. Cool. I've always found that a trim tool is the best way to do that without breaking those clips, because you can get both sides at once and not put a bunch of pressure on it. Just give it a little. While I was bringing the vacuum extractor and oil catch pan over here, I was thinking, you know, I really don't want to drop the pan on this. And why would I do that when we can probably suck all the fluid out of this thing? So I'm going to lower it back down, put a little pan underneath it, and then we're going to hook this thing up and try to suck all the fluid out of the transmission pan. The fluid needs to be drained before it ships back, and this could save me a ton of time having to pull the pan bolts and make a huge mess. Gio and I just pulled the dipstick, got a little sample of what used to be transmission fluid. It's straight black.
There's no red tint to it.
It looks like graphite came out of the transmission, and it smells so burnt. That transmission is finished. Now it's time to shove our extractor in there and see if we can pull this transmission fluid out. Drive shaft's out, oil's out, everything has been hit with some knocker loose. It's now time to really get after this job. I'm gonna drop the crossmember and the exhaust next, and that pretty much gets us to the transmission, and I'll get all the wiring off the transmission as well, and that gets us to basically just converter bolts in the bell housing, and I think we're home free. So, straight to the time lapse. As always, this few-hour job just turned into multiple days because the upper exhaust bolt there broke off, and it's in the manifold. So we have to find a way to get that out. I'm sure we'll have to end up welding on it and pulling it out with a nut. And of course, these ones won't come out at all. Pretty typical. And the oil filter's right there too. So there's not a good place to put a torch. Okay, we're getting the converter bolts out. There's no way to actually reach the front of this engine, so I'm having to do the old pry bar on the teeth. And we'll get to the next converter bolt here. Should be in a second. There it is. And put the ratchet on there. There's another one. Pulling the prindle off of here now. The new one does not come with another prindle. And there's your shift arm. I've got a 8mm ratchet wrench on here. Make this go a little faster. Detailer's knocking out this. Is that 20 or 21?
21, I believe.
21 Ram Limited 2500. Pretty cool wheels. That thing's pretty awesome. Good ceramic coated. Little Avalon King action. And then this should just wiggle off. It's wiggling. It is go time. The cooler lines are off. Let me rotate this so we can get it out of here. And it's time to bring over the transmission jack. And I've got the impact all set up with the super swivel. That is a swivel on a swivel socket, which lets me get into, they put the reinforcing ribbing right around the bolts on these, making them kind of impossible to get out. So there should be 2 or 3 bolts left in this thing after I pull these 2. These were already loose. I loosened them much earlier. And then the side ones I used this for, and it knocked them right out. Contact! Everybody's favorite part of the job right there. All right, transmission supported. Screw jack coming out. Now I'm gonna take the flashlight, look up inside here. I can see 2 of them right now, so let's see if we can make this happen. I don't think we have enough extension, that's for sure. Just kidding. All right, here's the most upper bell housing bolt. There's one. All right, it's out. Oh, that was it. That was the last bolt holding it up. She's free. Just to make sure nothing happens on the way down. Ah, transmission fluid right in my hair. There's nothing holding you on. Oh, the dipstick tube, which is supposed to just slide out. Ah, really? The dipstick tube? Come on. All right, I got it slid out. Forget you, dipstick tube. There goes one converter bolt. Transmission is fully out. And we just need to get around everything. It's supposed to be easy. Look at that, it is easy. All right, putting those bolts back in is not gonna be easy. Yes! Come with me and you'll be a core for another 4. These are external Torx. Pop these off real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and put a permanent marker line in there so I've got like an alignment mark, and then we'll pull the flywheel and then we'll take a look at the rear main. But it's wet, like that's a lot of oil. It's gotta be leaking. Let's get to it. All right, there's the shield. That's a rear main leak. Pretty wet in there. Let me get a seal puller and pop that out, put it back together. The transmission's out, the flywheel's out. I gotta grab a rear main seal tomorrow because obviously we didn't plan on doing that. This thing is incredibly nice, so we kind of assumed. He told me there were no oil leaks, there wouldn't be a rear main that needed replaced until we got underneath it and found out very quickly otherwise. So this thing ready to come down. We'll put the new transmission on the jack, and tomorrow this should go back together very quickly. I'm still surprised by how clean everything is under this car. Doesn't look like the pan leaks. And then we'll grab a seal puller and we'll get that old rear main out and tap in a new one. Of course, tomorrow I'll have to weld a nut onto the stud that stayed and get that out of there and grab one new bolt for the exhaust. And that's it. It's a little bit of, it was only a little bit of a nightmare. I thought it became a really bad day really quick, but it's not. Luckily, if you have a welder, everything kind of works out. I better do this tonight before I go home. Here's my cooler clean. This is what I use to flush the transmission cooler out. What I'm gonna do is take the vacuum oil collector here, hook the actual dump tube up to one of the lines, and then inject it with this, and hopefully it cleans it out without making any mess at all. That would be ideal. Never tried this before. Look at the hose, it's turning black, it's working. It's not working enough. Work better. We still made a huge mess. my proof of concept was not great. Look at what's coming out of that transmission cooler. This is a literal disaster. I think we have a new contender for worst transmission I have ever pulled out of a car. When I was cleaning this out, I switched over to the air, as you do after you run the cooler clean through it, and I went to blast it out, and I was getting hit with literal chunks of clutch material. And it's still coming out, so we're gonna have to flush it again tomorrow with another can. And those cans are like $20 each. So this became expensive, long, and not the fun, easy job I planned on it being this morning. Anyway, we'll wrap it up tomorrow, get this thing back on the road. Well, maybe tomorrow we'll end up chasing down the misfires too and trying to really fix the thing. But that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop.watchjrgo.com where you can get cool shirts just like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. And I will talk to you next time. Better believe my sleeves are rolled up because that solvent was pouring down my arms, and my watch is covered in it. I'm basically just covered in the solvent. Time to get out of here. Well, I don't have my truck here because I drove the Explorer here since it is my neighbor's car and he didn't have a way to get back. So we're getting out the Pro-Charged C5Z, which is pretty awesome. I really haven't driven this in a while. Unfortunately, there's a belt tensioner failing. You can hear the crickets now. But look outside, look at this. We got the 33, we got the Aztec, we got the Jeep, all just looking fire, hanging out in front of the building. Time to head home. I love driving that thing, but I'm gonna have to put a belt tensioner in it.